My name is Ida and today I will show you how I master a song in GarageBand. And just a quick disclaimer before we start, I am not a professional, so this is not a video on how to master a song in GarageBand, it's just a video on how I do it, based on my own experience and trying and failing. But if you're a beginner like me and you also don't really know what you're doing, then maybe this video will help you. I was really struggling with this when I was first going to release my music to the public streaming platforms, because as you might know, when you make a song in GarageBand, the volume will be lower than the other songs that you listen to. So in order to make the volume right and make the song just sound as good as possible, we need to do some mastering. And we can actually do that in GarageBand using a few hacks. If you're new to my channel, hi, welcome! Make sure to subscribe because I post new music content every week. And when I am finishing the edit, I actually isolate all of the vocal tracks and then I just listen to them to see if they have a good balance between them, and then I export those as a file. So the way to do that is to go to share here and I export the song to the hard drive and then I get a file with just the isolated tracks, so just the vocal tracks, and those will be the AIFF format, and then I can create a new empty track and just put that file into that empty track, and then I can adjust all of the vocals in just one track, so I don't have to go in and fix the volume for all the independent vocal tracks. That would be very time consuming, and I will usually add just a little reverb to all of them, and then I will maybe adjust the EQ just a little more, and I will adjust the volume so that it fits the rest of the track. I've actually broken this process into 9 steps. That sounds like a lot, but all of the steps are kind of small. But I can't show you the whole process while recording my screen because my MacBook can't handle that, and the sound starts lagging, and I kind of need the sound in order to do this. So I'm going to give you the instructions for all of the different steps while I am recording my screen, and then I'm going to stop recording and do the step myself, and then I will, yeah, you get the idea. So the first step is to adjust the EQ on all of the tracks in your project. So this is a project with kind of a lot of tracks, and to see the EQ, I just double click on the track, and then I can see the controls here and the EQ. And if we are going to play this track, let's see if it works at all. Works kind of terribly, but yeah. If I click Analyze down here, I can see where the sound is. So here we have the higher frequencies, and here we have the lower frequencies, and the vocals seem to be quite in the middle. So what I actually want to do is to just take off the edges where I don't use the frequencies, if that makes sense, because a lot of these sounds will fight for the spot to be in certain kinds of frequencies. So let's say the bass and the drums, because the drums also have a bass drum, then those two will kind of try to fight their way to dominate those kinds of frequencies, and I don't want there to be too much trouble and arguing in my track, so I try to go in and just take down the EQ thing in the frequencies where they aren't used. I can show you with this bell sound. This is what is happening when I am recording my screen. But yeah, we could briefly see that the bells were down here. These are not the bells like ding 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 in the top. So I can kind of take down these frequencies that we aren't using, just so that they don't take up too much space in our project. And I'm actually going to do that for all of the tracks. and just kind of eliminate the unnecessary space. And when I'm actually doing this for real, I will isolate the track and listen to it and make sure that the track sounds as good as possible. And sometimes I would maybe like to adjust it where we can actually hear the difference. So with the bass drum, for instance, I would take it up just a little, around 500 here, just to get kind of punch in, and I don't need so much in the very low frequencies because that would dominate too much against the bass, if that makes sense. At least this is how I do it, and it seems to work kind of okay. When I'm doing this process, I will also make sure that the volume here, you can see the volume for each track, and when we're playing, the volume will the volume will be green if it's like nice and cool, but if it turns yellow or red, then it's too loud. And I will make sure that none of my tracks have red sound, preferably not yellow either, but all of these should be nice and green, and the EQ should be nice and adjusted for all of the tracks before we move on. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is to export this project as a file, and what we do is that we go into share here, and instead of sharing this song to iTunes, this is in Norwegian of course, but I can translate as we go. So we share this, and normally we would just send it to iTunes to get an MP3 file, but we are going to export the song to hard drive, as this says. And we will just save it in our downloads. So yeah, that's our track, export. When we have successfully exported our file, then we can move directly into step 3. And step 3 is to open a new GarageBand project. So we go into archive, new. Yes, I want to save the changes. And we take an empty project, and we want to make a track, and we're just making this track with the setting where the microphone is. That's like our usual setting. So we will make that track. And here we have a new, fresh track. And I will just remove the timers and the metronome and stuff. And now I can take my song and just drag it in here. So this is our master track. That was actually step 4. I forgot to say that was step 4, but to take the exported file and put it in a fresh track, that's step 4. And then we have step 5, which is to begin the actual mastering. So for that, spor means track, and we want to click master instead. That's the same word. And now we can adjust the master EQ. So I'm going to just adjust the EQ again while listening to the track, and then I'm going to return for step 6. Step 6 is the master plugins, and we have already done the master EQ, so we have some other plugins here, and as you can see, this is blue, and we are going to add the compressor and the limiter, and this is the multi-compressor. You can of course add any of these, and if you haven't done this before, then I would recommend that you just try and click everything and try different settings and just listen to your tracks to get familiar with how they sound when you apply the different plugins. So we can click the compressor. So now that's on, and here we can find some different ways of adding the compressor. And you can choose the manual setting, or you can choose another kind of setting. We have some different kinds of pop song settings and hip-hop settings and whatever, so you can just hear what sounds good for your track. I like to just do the manual setting, and then I can adjust these things here in order to make my track sound as good as possible. Let's see what happens if I try to play this. But I don't know what it means. And of course there's a motorbike. I want this down. I want this to go up. Yeah. So that's the compressor. And then we have my nemesis, which is the limiter. Try and see what happens now. So the limiter is there to help our ears so that we don't get these sudden high noises. But the problem is, if you haven't done your job properly in your first project and there are just too many things happening, then the limiter will just kick in and shut down everything, and you get this feeling of being kind of seasick, as if someone just turns the volume up and down and up and down. But you still need to apply it, because if you don't apply it, then you don't get the right volume and your track is just silent. Oh, sun. Yeah, your track is just very silent compared to other tracks, so you do need to apply the limiter. But if there are too many disturbing noises, then you will get this weird feeling of someone just, I imagine this volume kind of wheel where someone is going woo woo, so it's very uncomfortable. I always get kind of nervous when I'm supposed to do this, because if it doesn't work, I have to repeat step 1 and 2 and just keep doing that until it works. I am a bit worried about my vocal track because it's a bit loud, but luckily I have united all of the vocal tracks in one track, so if it doesn't work now and it's still too much sound, then I can go back to my previous project and turn down the vocal track just a little and try again. So that's basically how I keep doing this. I try to apply these plugins, and if I can't make it sound good, then I will go back to the previous project and I will adjust some more, export to new file, and then just put that new file in the master project and keep doing it. So let's just see how this sounds with the limiter, if my MacBook will allow me to play it. Tender and perpetual, like all of the things we leave behind. But I don't know what it means to you, a look inside your eyes and then I lose all I knew. This is promising, but we'll have to see how it sounds with headphones, of course. So I will just quit recording my screen and try and do some different tweakings with these things, maybe add some exciter that makes it, you know, exciting. I imagine the exciter like these kind of, if you've seen these TikToks where you have these paintings and then someone puts like some kind of oil on top of it and just like smooths it out and all of the colors just start to pop. So that's what we want from this process, as well as, of course, making the volume right. I ended up going back and turning down the vocals just a little, and I also added just a little bit of excitement. So yeah, now I think that my track is done. So that leads us to step 9, which is to share it to iTunes. So to share it, we just go to Share, Song to iTunes. And then we get an MP3 file that we can upload to whatever distribution service that we use in order to get this song onto the streaming platforms. But of course, I don't just do that straight away. Now we have the final, last step, which is to test it. So what I would usually do is to try and listen to the song on my headphones and then listen to Somebody Else by the 1975 also on my headphones to compare the volume and the sound. I don't know why I always do that song, but it starts with this really smooth panning effect and you kind of get a feeling of the volume straight away, and also it calms me in a weird way. I'm always very stressed out when I do this, so it kind of helps me to get those panning chords in the beginning of that song. But yeah, I test the volume up against that song and maybe some other songs, and I also listen to it on the speakers in the living room as well as the headphones, and I try to also listen to it on my cell phone without any kind of headphones just to hear how it sounds. And lastly, I will take it for a walk. That's a very important step. So I will listen to it on my cell phone, on my headset, while I am walking, just so that I get the feel of how it sounds out in the world. And when I'm happy with it, then it's finished. So yeah, I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions or any other tips for me, then please let me know in the comments. Please don't bully me if you're a professional and you're like, you're doing it all wrong, because I know that this is probably not how you're supposed to do it, but it does kind of work. I mean, you get the desired effect, which is the right volume and the right feel of the song. So yeah, I hope I was able to help someone. Remember to subscribe if you're new, and I hope you'll have a really nice rest of your day. I will see you very soon with another video. Okay, bye! But I don't know what it means to you. You bite your lip until it starts to bruise. You're light blue and all the colors burst when I'm with you. With you, it seems like everything